Okay, good evening everyone. Today our session is Anthropology Paper 2. We'll ask a lot of questions and I would like to hear the answers of Anthropology Paper 2. Okay, let us start our session. You have to tell the answers in brief. If you cannot tell, I will say the answer. What is the structure and nature of traditional Indian social system?
So please go ahead because I don't know.
It
Why I
is
don't know?
the
Because I'm no.
it is the combination of Varnashram, Purusartha, Karma, Rina and Rebirth.
Okay.
This
Okay.
is the structure and nature of traditional Indian social system. What do you mean by Varnashram?
Please repeat the question. What is the? Please
What
repeat the
is
question.
Varnashram?
No. Before the first question, what was the first question?
First question we have finished now. We'll move to second. What
Nee,
is Varnashram?
please repeat the question only.
Structure and nature of traditional Indian social system. That is all recorded. You will get it.
Sir.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening all. Okay. Tell me what is Varnashram. Good evening to all. What is Varnashram?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, Pranati. Good evening, Ankit. I welcome you all to this interview session. Now we are covering the paper 2. So what is Varnashram? You can answer. Varna Vyavastha.
ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य शूद्र इनमें जो डिवाइड हुआ है वही है वर्णाश्रम.
No. These are the 4 ashramas or the stages of life. Varnashram refers to the ideological form of social organization. In the Vedas, it prescribes the 4 varnas or occupational groups to live according to the 4 ashramas or 4 stages of life. This is Brahmacharya, the student stage, Grihastha, the householder stage, Vanaprastha, hermit stage, and Sannyasa, the wandering ascetic stage. Okay. What is Purusarth?
Purusartha means the 4 goals, goals orientation of life, like dharma, artha, kama, moksha.
Okay. What is its final aim?
Moksha, that is liberation from the endless cycle of rebirth.
Okay. Explain dharma.
Dharma comes from the word dhre, which means to uphold. This is basically the duties and rights of a man.
Rights and duties of a human being. What is artha?
Artha means all worldly prosperity, like wealth, power, status, everything, whatever we can earn as a righteous.
Attainment of wealth. Attainment of wealth and status. What is kama?
Yes, sir. Kama means all kind of desires. Whatever we can seek.
The sexual drive. It provides for the satisfaction of the sexual drive. And what is moksha?
Yes, sir.
That is liberation.
Liberation.
Okay. What do you mean by Rina?
Rina basically the debt what we bring during birth, and we have to fulfill all the debt. Otherwise, we cannot attain moksha.
In every individual in Hinduism, he is born with a social debt, which is known as Rina. There are 5 types of Rina. They are Deva Rina, Rishi Rina, Pitra Rina, Atiti Rina, and Bhuta Rina. What is karma?
Means action and its consequences.
Karma is the universal law of cause and effect. You do good work, you get heaven. You do bad work, you go to hell. Punarjanam, rebirth is based on the soul is immortal. What is meant by caste?
Sir, it is a closed organic stratified group, uh, which is generally determined by birth.
It is based on caste. It is based on color, creed, blood, race, etc. In India, two models of caste are followed: Varna model and Jati model. As per M.N. Srinivas, Varna represents the book view, whereas Jati represents the field view of caste. What is the concept of purity in Indian caste system?
No, Dvija caste, especially Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, are more purer than the Sudras and untouchables. So they have the right to do all the ritual works, whereas the untouchables are not allowed to.
What are the various theories of caste system?
The divine theory, Aryan invasion theory, then occupational theory.
Sociological theory. What is a divine theory? Explain it.
Sir, according to divine theory, the all four burners originated from the divine being Brahma. The Brahmin come out of the brain, the Kshatriyas came out of hand, the Vaishyas came out of belly, and the Sudras came out of leg.
What do you mean by dominant caste?
Dominant
Tell something about it.
Dominant caste theory was given by M.N. Srinivas in his paper Dominant Caste in the Village of Rampura in 1959. And it means that not the ritually higher caste are not always dominant. He pointed this out, and he saw that certain castes which are not the ritually higher, but still they occupy the political and other sphere, economical sphere in the villages. They are known as dominant caste, and they have certain natures, like they hold political power. Some get a job in administration. They have numerically superior. They hold more lands in the villages, etc.
They have tradition in agriculture and tradition in quarrel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Example of dominant caste. Always with the caste, you give example. It is better.
Like Yadavas and Jats of North India, Marathas of Maharashtra, Kamma Reddy, Andhra Pradesh.
Cooks of Nilgiri.
Yes, sir.
What is in my Jajmani system? This question has come many times in the mains exam.
So it is given by Whistler, Weiser. This is given by
William
Weiser.
Whistler. It is given by
Yes, sir.
William Whistler.
Okay, sir. William Whistler. According to judgment system, every caste are in a village are interdependent on each other. Every caste
There is
are expected to give certain service to other caste. And
there
they're
is one Jajman,
intergenerational and judgment and
intergenerational,
Tamil.
and also divided into two groups. Jajman system is broadly concept of two groups: Jajman
Yes,
and
sir.
Kamin.
And
Jajman,
Tamil. Yes,
he
sir.
is the he is the higher caste, land owning a higher caste, and Kamin, he is the laborer or artisan, landless laborer or artisan, landless caste. That's Kamin. Okay, tell me an example, case study of Jajmani relationship. Mundan ceremony of a child in Uttar Pradesh, where Thakur is the Jajman. And Kamin is there are 9 Kamins: barber, priest, then dhobi, scavenger, bhangi, musician. All these are coming, and carpenter. All these are there to allow. All these are there to make the arrangement for the Mundan ceremony of the young child of 5 years in the in the Thakur family of UP. What is tribe caste continuum?
Sir, this theory come out of the folk urban continuum studied by Robert Redfield. So, according to tribe caste continuum, according to F.G. Bailey, this is not always a good idea to look tribe and caste as two different end of the system. Rather, there is a continuity between them. They have for centuries they have affected each other. That is known as tribe caste continuum. For example, there are certain tribes in Uttar Pradesh who has adopted a caste-like complex system, caste-like hierarchical system, whereas and certain caste also, due to their adjacent nature of living to tribes, they have adopted tribe-like features.
What is folk urban continuum?
Similarly, sir, the folk society are generally homogeneous, simple living, and non-written societies, simple rituals, and whereas the urban societies are characterized by money and
So there are
mostly
two
money
poles,
economy. Yes, sir.
folk
Yes.
poles and urban poles. So they lie in between them. Okay. It is this concept was also given by Robert Redfield in the book Folk Culture of Yucatan. What do you mean by sacred complex? Explain in brief.
Sacred complex theory is given by LP Vidyarthi, and according to him,
in his book, always mention the book. In his book, The Sacred Complex of Hindu Gaya.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So he studied that there are certain places which are mostly pilgrimage centers like Goa. They have been act as a center of diffusion of culture and tradition, and there has been confusion of little tradition, great tradition in those places.
What do you say? Confusion or conclusion?
Sir, convergence.
Conversion, conversion नहीं.
Confluence, confluence.
Convergence or congruence.
Confluence. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Confluence of these three, these two, great tradition, little tradition. And how many parts it is divided? Sacred complex.
The three parts:
What are they?
sacred geography, sacred specialist, sacred performances.
What is sacred geography?
For
The
example,
places with holy towns, religious places, Gaya,
Yeah.
Allahabad, Banaras, Puri. And what do you mean by sacred performances? Shraddh, Pindadan, marriage ceremony, and puja, rituals. What do you mean by sacred specialist?
For example, sir, there are Gayawal Brahmins of Gaya who have some distinctive culture and way of life. And even today, they do not opt for English education. They follow their traditional practices
Not
and
even
traditional
Brahmins are
lifestyle.
there. That Kasi Brahmins and the other those tantrics can be also said to be sacred specialist. What do you mean by nature, man, spirit, NMS complex?
So this theory was given by LP Vidyarthi during his study of the Malay tribe of Bihar. And according to him, he gave this theory that human has a close interaction between nature and his lifestyle. They're dependent on they have a dependence on nature, and that was shaped their world.
And they believe in the tribal, in the belief in the spirit world. Okay. Tell me any remarkable thing about Buddhism. 5 points about Buddhism.
Sorry, it is generated as a counter to the Brahminical complex Hinduism religion at that point of time during 540 BC. Buddha born in Lumbini, and it has hugely affected our society. For example, from religious life to social life, from education to art and culture.
What do you mean by noble path? 8 noble paths are there, na?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 8 noble path. Like right conduct, right speech, right meditation, right conduct, etc. Sir.
Fine. What 8 noble path and 3 Ratnas were there. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
What is mean by Jainism?
So Jainism main proponent was Mahavir Jain, and he gave 5 doctrines like Asteya, Aparigraha, Satya, Ahimsa, Brahmacharya. The last one was added by Mahavir Jain himself, and they also quite they are a in between religion of Buddhism and Hinduism. They both propounded certain parts of Hinduism and certain parts of Buddhism.
Why Jainism is important and Buddhism is important? Both are important for Odisha.
Yes, sir.
Why they are important for Odisha?
Sir, Kharavada, who is believed to have ruled over half of North India and mostly from Odisha in 2nd century BC, was a Jain himself, and he has made many Jain sculptures like caves
What
and
was
all
the
like
important
Udayagiri.
inscription of Kharabada in the Khandagiri Hills?
Jai Namokar mantra, I guess.
Have you heard of the Hathi Gumpa inscription?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It was deciphered by English historian James Prinsep, and it told the history of King Kharabala, that how prosperous he made the kingdom of Odisha, Utkal, Kalinga at that time. Right. And what about Jainism? How is it connected to Odisha history?
Sorry, sir. Buddhism, no?
Sorry, Buddhism.
Buddhism is connected to Odisha because of King Ashoka, who got converted to Buddhism after the Kalinga War.
Where it was there, Dhaulagiri, the monument is created, where in the beside there was a Daya Nadi, believed to be born from the river, blood of the warriors killed in the Ashoka Kalinga War. Between Ashoka and whom the war was fought? Kalinga War was fought between whom?
No idea, sir. Forgotten the name.
I will tell the answer. What is meant by Islam? It was fought by Ashoka and Kharabala. Kharabala was defeated.
No, sir. I think Kharavada is younger contemporary to Ashoka. They are not from the same time. It was someone else.
Then
I have forgotten that.
the
Yes, sir. I think that is only written in some novels or something. There is no historical conclusive evidence.
No, they said there was war between Ashoka and whom? In the Ashoka war, in the Kalinga war.
No idea, sir.
Please tell this answer. Okay, what is Islam?
Sir, Islam originated in 7th century in Middle East, and it basically recognizes one God. It is a form of monotheistic religion, and it came to India during 10th century, and later on during Turkish and Mughal rulers. And it promotes universal brotherhood, and there is no exclusive governing classes.
Dinillahi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What does it say?
There is one God, I guess.
Okay. Why the King Akbar is famous in Islam?
Because he was the most secularized leader of Mughal.
Liberal leader.
Mughal
he valued all the
liberal
religions, and he
yes,
even reduced the taxes for Hindus.
Yes, sir. He also built a temple in Banaras, Hindu temple of Banaras, in Banaras.
Kalinga War is between Ashoka and the state of Kalinga. There at the time there was no king.
It might be something like the Sangha, Baji Sangha, like. I mean, there is no king. There's a group of people who must be ruling.
There was no king at the time. They say that it is the army of Kalinga which they fought against.
Yes, sir.
So there is no conclusive evidence. Who was there? Okay,
But
next.
later on, some Nobel written, whereas it is in poetic style written that he came to got the daughter of some king or something. That is just a fiction, I guess.
Now the Asoka picture was released. There, Asoka was in a friendship with the Karubaki.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Karubaki.
Oh,
Is the daughter of king of Odisha. Yes.
king of Odisha. But this is not portrayed in a correct manner. What is Christianity? How does it influence our culture?
Christianity originated with the birth of Jesus, and it came to India mostly during the rule of Portuguese and British. And it is also principles. It has principles like universal brotherhood and egalitarian outlook and service to the downtrodden, etc. And it has impacted our life in a major way. For example, it has take us from our traditional education system to English modern education, and it has also helped in eradicating caste system, and in our economic life was also impacted by this. By we have moved towards modernization, industrialization, etc.
So the main impact was on tribals because they provided free healthcare, free education to the most,
That is why
especially
missionaries,
the,
Christian
yes, yes,
missionaries,
yes, especially in the northeast. Yes,
evangelization, forceful conversion to their Christianity.
especially in northeast region, they were.
Yes. Northeast region, Nagaland, and also in Odisha, Jharkhand, they are converting the tribals to another weaker sections of the society to Christianity
Yes,
by luring them with money, service,
yes,
dispensaries, hospitals, social services,
yes,
etc., etc. In how many phases Indian anthropology is divided?
the three phases:
What are they?
formative, constructive, and analytical. Formative starts from 1774 when the William Jones constructed Asiatic Society of India, I guess. And later on, it is continued up to 1919. And people like Risley and William Jones and many British anthropologists, they wrote many monographs on many tribes and many ethnographical reports on tribes and all. Then second phase started from it's a constructive 1919 to 1950. It started with first of all the Kolkata University got a anthropological department. Then
and also
people like
Pune Anthropology converted the
yes,
sociology department to anthropology, social anthropology department. And analytical phase is the latest phase, which is constitutive phase 1920 to 49, and analytical
yes,
phase
sir.
1950 onwards, where we
Yes,
see
sir.
all the new changes. Who is
Yes, sir.
Sarath Chandra
Mostly
Ray?
zero.
Sarath Chandra Ray.
He is actually the father of Indian anthropologist, I guess.
He is known as
Anthropologist.
Indian ethnology. He did extensive fieldwork among tribes of Oran, Munda, and Karai. He started the first anthropological journal of India. What is it?
The Munda, I guess.
No, man in India.
Okay.
Who is Govind Sadasiv Ghure?
He has done mainly the caste studies in India, caste and race studies.
He was a staunch critic of warrior Elvin, okay, whom he called a no changer or isolationist, trying to prevent tribes from participating in national growth. Okay, you can remember this. G.S. Ghory was a staunch critic of warrior Elvin. Who is Dhirendranath Majumdar? He was one of India's finest anthropologists who contributed to socio-cultural, biological, and archaeological anthropology. Dhirendranath Majumdar. Nirmal Kumar Bose.
He is especially important because he studied some of the tribes of Odisha, especially the Juangs.
Okay. Juangs of Odisha. Juangs are found where?
Keonjhar and Keonjhar Sundargarh area. northern part of Odisha.
They
What
come
is
under PDTG also.
Juans and PDTG so Odisha na Juans. Okay, what is Mysore Narasimhachar Srinivas famous for? He gave many theories.
The
Yes,
theories like Sanskritization, Westernization, dominant caste, etc.
Secularization also. He was awarded Padma Bhushan for his contribution to Indian social sciences. He is one of the brightest of Indian sociologists and anthropologists, both an anthropologist and a sociologist. Sarat Chandra Dubey.
he was an anthropologist. He was especially known for the tribal subplan, which
He
can be
played a greater role to the formation of tribal subplan, along with whom?
LP
Along with
Vidyarthi.
LP Vidyarthi, who is very relevant.
So he was a Christian missionary who initially came to India as a missionary, but later on turned out to be the savior of tribals. He initially gave the theory of isolationist approach to protect the
Which was
tribals. So later on, he also
which was criticized by G.S. Ghurye. He
yes,
forgot
sir.
the
But later on,
isolationist policy of tribal
yes,
development.
sir.
What is Christopher von Führer Hammondorff? Who is he? Christopher von Führer Hammondorff.
He was an Austrian, I think, Austrian ethnologist.
He is an Australian,
Austrian, I think so.
Anyone can see?
Yes, sir. Austrian.
Australian or Austrian?
Austrian.
Austrian.
I mean,
Austrian ethnologist. He developed a fascination towards the culture of Indian tribes. About LP Vidyarthi, he gave many theories.
Yes, the sacred complex, then NMS
Nature man spirit complex and phases of Indian anthropology.
And he was the student of Robert Redfield.
Yeah, student of Robert Redfield in Chicago.
Chicago School, yes.
Robert Redfield in Chicago School. Okay, what is Hansmukh Dheerajlal Sankalia's contribution?
he was a chief archaeologist.
He was India's finest archaeological anthropologist. You have to tell the word archaeological anthropologist in terms of anthropology. He excavated Langnas, the famous Mesolithic site, finding microlithic tools and human burials. Okay, which site in Indus Valley Civilization is in news now?
Where we can get all these thinkers database?
All these thinkers database are available in your Akshay Jain book.
That book, I don't have that book.
You know about place called Rakhigadi in Haryana?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The largest site of IBC.
It is in news for excavations. Some 10 excavations have been done and artifacts have been found. What are the problems faced by linguistic minorities?
First of all, no script is available, so it is very difficult to make books and all, and no teachers are also available. And the state is also not giving enough attention to the linguistic minority in its states.
There is deterioration of tribal languages and discriminatory state policies not favoring their spread and propagation, and politicization of language. These all are the problems faced by linguistic minorities. What is the way ahead for this?
First of all, it is the duty of state to protect its linguistic minorities. And secondly, we must promote their language. We can devise new scripts for tribal languages, and we can train their
Suppose,
own
for
people.
example, there is an Old Chiki script for protection of the Santali language.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Yes, sir.
which is in Schedule 8 of the Constitution. The preservation of endangered languages is to be done. Effective implementation of constitutional safeguards and benevolent state policies must be favoring them, and clamping down on divisive politics. These are the way aheads. Way aheads means what you can think of solutions. not the government initiatives. Government initiatives are already there. Problems faced by religious minorities in India.
They face, first of all, discrimination in most of the fields, then stereotyping them, and lack of protection of constitutional safeguards given to them.
First one is poverty, backwardness of the community, for example, Muslim community. Second one is high levels of illiteracy, and there is discrimination among the rights, the stereotyping, community, some mob violence, community violence. We have heard of mob lynching, lack of representation as bureaucracy, legislature, and executive. Okay, what are the constitutional rights for them?
So Article 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, then 347, 350.
What is Article 350?
The protection of the language, I guess, special linguistic officer.
Is it linguistic officer 347?
Official language, I think.
Tell me, define the concept of Sanskritization.
So certain lower caste imitate the lifestyle and customs beliefs of upper caste, and with time they may or may not achieve the higher status like upper caste. The upper caste may retaliate or may not, and it is basically the change in position, not in structure.
Concept of Sanskritization was given by M.S. Srinivas in the book Religion and Study Among the Courts of South India. Sanskritization is a process in which lower caste emulate the higher caste, emulate a higher or dominant caste, and preferably a Dvija caste to attain a higher social status. What is the concept of Westernization?
So it is also given by M.S. Srinivas, according to which the socio-cultural changes which India passed through because of the contact with European countries, especially British.
150 years rule of the particularly British Empire, British rule. There is changes in technology, institution, culture, apparels, and daily customs, ideology and values, moral principles also. What do you mean by great tradition and little tradition?
This concept was given by L.P. Vidyarthi. No, not L.P. Vidyarthi. Robert Redfield, I think.
Yes, Robert Redfield.
And according to him, great tradition is the customs, traditions of the dominant people of the region, and little tradition is the tradition of the lower caste or lower
tradition
class.
of the elite people, elites, powerful people are known as great tradition, like Lakshmi Puja. And tradition followed by peasant communities is known as little tradition, like Govardhan Puja. Little tradition spread through folk culture, while great tradition spread through more expressive, codified, and contained in the sacred texts like Gita, Bhagavad, Mahabharata, Ramayana, these books. What do you mean by universalization and parochialization?
So the upward movement of culture and traditions of little tradition towards the higher end, towards the great tradition, and getting universalized is known as universalization, whereas the downward movement of great tradition cultures towards the folk society and getting normalized there is known as parochialization. For example, the Saluno Puja becomes Rakhi is an example of universalization, whereas also Santoshi Ma is an example of universalization. And parochialization is, I think, the Govardhan Puja is an example of parochialization.
Yes. That means parochialization and universalization and parochialization balancing each other.
Yes.
What do you mean by tribe? What are the characteristics of a tribe? General characteristics of a tribe. Tell me 5 characteristics of a tribe.
They speak a common dialect, live in a common place. They ensure certain kind of endogamy in marriage, and mostly reciprocal exchange.
The economy. You're
distinct-
talking about the economy.
Primitive
sir.
economy,
Primitive economy.
quality also.
They
primitive.
their place live in remote and isolated areas. They have primitive economy, and they have primitive polity. They have primitive religion. They have low population density. There is harmonious. They are always maintain harmonious relationship with nature. Very easy. Tribe is a community, belongs to a community with these particular characteristics. What is the racial classification of Indian population given by B.S. Koha?
Negrito, tribe. So tribe.
नहीं
Yeah,
देश
पूरा.
का पूरा racial classification of Indian population, not only tribes. He gave 6-fold classification now.
Yes, sir. Yes. Negrito, Mongoloid, Proto-Australoid.
Let her speak. He's speaking up. Please speak, madam.
Yes, Harkundu.
Okay, Ankit, please speak.
Negrito, Proto-Australoid, Mongoloid, and
That and
sir, Negrito, Proto-Australoid, Mongoloid, Mediterranean, Western Brachycephaly, and Nordic.
Mediterranean, Western Brachycephaly,
And Nordic.
Nordic. They are going to ask this. And tribes, how many tribes is classified? Same.
3. Proto-Australoid, Negrito, and Mongoloid.
First 3 is the tribal classification: Negrito, Proto-Australoid, and Mongoloid. The people of India can be divided into how many language families?
So 3. Dravidian, Indo-Aryan, and Mongoloid, or something like that.
They are divided into 4 linguistic populations: Aryan, Dravidian, Sino-Tibetan, and Austro-Asiatic. That is Chota Nagpur area. Yes?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Aryan, Dravidian, Austro-Asiatic, and Sino-Tibetan, Northeast.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Into how many zones? B.S. Goa has classified the Indian tribals.
I think 3 zones:
Tell them.
north and northeastern, southern, then central.
Central zone. You can open the Aksar Jain book. You can answer. No issues. What are the economic classification of Indian tribes?
Hunter and food gatherer, agriculturalist, artisans, shifting cultivators, pastoralist, folk artist, and the modern tribes who are engaged in service and trade.
Simple artisans, agriculturalists, you have told, and tribes engaged in service and trade. Okay, there are 8 classifications in total. What are the problems of tribal communities?
So they have been the victim of colonization. Then
Tell in points, 6 points. There is
land
in the book.
poverty, then
indebtedness.
literacy.
Land alienation, first of all, poverty, indebtedness, low literacy, and poor educational facilities, unemployment, health, and nutrition issues, tribal identity. I can add one more. What is the impact of land alienation on Indian tribes?
it has led them to abandon their traditional lifestyle. Then they have become indebted to the mainstream people, and they are losing
There
their
is forced
culture and
migration.
language.
They have been migrated forcefully, evicted out of their lands. Forced migration. There is poverty. There is cultural deprivation. Their culture is destroyed. Forced migration, poverty, and cultural deprivation. What is the impact of indebtedness on Indian tribes?
Sir,
So
every
they
problem
become
is integrated.
One answer,
Every
please, loudly go.
every problem is integrated, like indebtedness, land alienation. Every problem leads to becomes a cause for other problem or becomes a result of one problem. Like land alienation becomes the cause of poverty, and poverty can also, or indebtedness can also become the cause of land alienation. So all the
No,
problems are
I'm
integrated.
asking about the impact. Suppose a tribal has taken loan from a money lender. What will be the impact? There are some
They
direct
may
impacts also.
become bonded labor of that
He will become
money.
bonded labor. He will lose his land. गिनवी रखा है ना जमीन को. जमीन को
Yes,
गिनवी
yes.
रखा है. He cannot pay the loan. Then the साहूकार will take his zameen, and he will have poor health. He will start drinking. All this will happen. What are the causes of
Like,
low literacy among the Indian tribes?
because they do not have the curriculum in their own language, and the mainstream education is being posed upon them, and secondly there is less government policies towards tribal education. Even if there is some policies, they are not being implemented properly, and there
Paucity
is
of
also,
schools and materials
yes,
and willing teachers. There is break
discrimination
between
towards them.
modern education and tribal education. There is no continuity. There is discrimination and social prejudice. If a tribal student enters a normal school, then he is discriminated. There is corruption and exploitation in state-run facilities. The teachers are not attending the schools and just having the ghost attendance.
The
What are the causes of poor?
willingness of the tribal people भी होगा ना.
हाँ हाँ थोड़ा जोर से को.
जो एजुकेशन सर जो एजुकेशन प्रोब्लेम होची तो विलिंगनेस ऑफ द ट्राइबल पीपल सेटा भी गोटे कज हबो कारण से माने निजे दे आर नॉट
ठीक. They are unwilling to adapt to the new system of education. They can only understand the tribal language. ବେଳେ ବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କର ବାପା ମା ମାନେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ପଠାନ୍ତିନି why to learn the other culture. They don't say
sometimes the
in
educated
the schools.
tribals. Sometimes the educated tribals abandon their families and left for big cities. I mean, superiority complex arises.
ତାଙ୍କର ଭିତରେ ବି the superiority complex arises. What are the causes of poor health and nutritional standards among Indian tribes?
First of all, sir, superstition. Then lack of the mainstream doctors to go and serve in a tribal area, and they have no belief in.
Doctors.
Yes, sir. They have also no belief in modern medicine. They still believe in traditional medicine man and sorcerers, etc.
They believe in the tribal medicine. They are not unwilling. They are unwilling to adapt to the modern system of medicines. There is deficiency of funds and the utilization. There is absence of healthcare infrastructure. Unwilling doctors. No doctor is willing to get posted in tribal areas. Okay. There is no tribal policy making. There is no tribal participation in policy making. There is extravagant liquor. Exploitation by liquor vendors. Normally, tribals are taking into liquor and they are engaging in prostitution because of poverty. So, what are the causes of unemployment among Indian tribes?
First of lack of skills because they are not adapted to the modern industries and work culture, and they are also very simple living people. So they are not attracted, especially towards this 9 to 5 kind of job.
First of all, their land alienation hegala. They have lost their lands, and they are after the loss of lands, they are to migrate, forceful migration hegala. They work as a bonded labor, okay, and they have to find jobs in the industries. Okay, they are not skilled. Okay, they don't have awareness about the constitutional rights. There is poor agricultural productivity because they don't have a tractor or HOV seeds, fertilizers, poor education status. These all are the causes for low level of employment. What are forest policies? Can you enumerate them?
Past policy came in 1855, and the recent one is 2006. And the
What is
British
the agenda of forest policies before independence and after independence?
Before independence, it was mostly directed to conserve the interest of British colonialist only, and
favor the British resources for the economic interest of the favor the forest resources in for the British economic interests. Railway carriages,
Yes,
woods were taken for railway carriages, coffee plantation, and outsiders were export to the tribal. Outsiders were exposed to the tribal areas, okay, for plantation purpose, and woods were taken for making the telegraph lines, railway tracks, and ships. After what happened after independence?
And sir,
What
after
changes
independence, fast policy came in 1952, and it was mostly on the same pattern of British policies. The first time they recognized this symbiotic relation was in 1988 forest policy. Then in 2006, they made constitutional changes to give proper habitual and life to right to tribals.
They gave 4 rights to the tribals in Forest Rights Act 2006. Okay,
Yes, sir.
how the forest policies have adversely affected the tribals?
Driving them out of their home, then the displacement because of dam, different power plants and mining.
This is land alienation. We're telling there is
Oh,
forced
sorry.
migration. You cannot get inside the forest to collect your MFPs, minor forest products. So this leads to poverty, psychological frustration, and cultural loss, because tribal culture is integrated with the forest, and you are not allowing the tribals to visit to the forest. What will happen? They will have cultural dilemma. Okay, they will have various psychological frustrations, land alienation. Tribals don't have land. The forests are their land. What is the other name of Forest Rights Act 2006?
So the main features of Forest Right Act 2006 was to give them rights.
I'm asking about the main features of. I'm asking about the another name of Forest Rights Act. Another name of Forest Rights Act. You can open the book and answer.
Another name or another policy?
Another name. Forest Rights Act रो दूसरा नाम भी अच्छी.
Name sir.
What is the other name of Forest Rights Act 2006?
Oh, okay.
Sir, scheduled tribe and other forest dwellers, recognition of forest rights. Sir.
Scheduled tribe and other forest dwellers.
Forest dwellers, recognition of Forest Rights Act 2006.
Scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dealers recognition rights. That is 2006.
Scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers recognition of their scheduled tribes and other forest.
2006.
Scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers Rights Act.
Yes, sir.
2006.
2006. Yes, good. What does it say? Why it was a landmark?
So whoever has lived in forest for 75 years are given proper land rights. They are also given all community rights like the of Nistar, etc. And they are given rights to collect and use and dispose the minor forest produce.
What are the rights basically? There are 4 rights were given. Can you define? Can you say them correctly? What are they? Title rights,
So
use
title
rights,
rights, use rights, relief and
title,
development rights, and forest management rights.
forest management rights. What do you mean by minor forest produce? As you told in the interview, they will ask you questions from your answers. Minor forest produce. Example.
All the non-timber forest produce are known as minor forest produce.
Example.
Like jhal, leaves, and
What
those
is it?
leaves. Jhal.
What leaves? Specific. You can tell this lac, honey.
Yes, sir.
Candy
Bamboo.
leaves.
Kendu leaves. These are all the also the forest minor forest produce.
Jhuna.
That is called na lac. Junaro,
Hello.
I told the English word lac. LSC lac. And also they collect a lot of tribal medicines, seeds and
Fruits
leaves meant
also.
for fruits, tribal medicines, nuts, seeds, all these things. Basically, their livelihood is dependent on forests only. What is joint forest management?
So it was initiated by certain forest officials during 1980s in West Bengal and UP. And they basically promoted the joint forest management by including the tribals along with forest officials so that they both protect together their own forest. And they are also given.
It is joint forest, it is a management or partnership in forest management and protection between the forest department and the local communities. They had a handshake. What was the impact of industrialization and urbanization on Indian tribes?
Indebtedness, then land alienation, then urbanism. What is the imitating the urban people, like unnecessary spending on sunglasses and all these modern things like mobile phone, etc.
Luxury gadgets.
Yes, sir.
Pranati, can you say something?
Yes, sir. There's two consequences. One is negative and another is positive.
Yes,
Negative is that they are losing their land, their forest, and they are not getting that type of facility to access their indigenous resources like the forest or like the forest. And the second part, which is positive, is that they will get that much of facility to involve in the modern society. They will get integration of the modern society. They will get that facility to get
they get jobs, their
opportunity to
employment. Okay. The negatives are the infiltration by outsiders, money lenders, breakdown of the self-sufficient economy, and decline of traditional institutions like they had a family system, they had a hostel system that broke down. Disruption of nature man spirit complex. And extravagant spending on marriages on other occasions. They used to drink heavily and spend on the spend all the money.
एग्जाम्पल भी देई होबो कि केमती किस और केट्रो पिला माने सब केमती बाहर को जाके बहुत माने स्पोर्ट्स रे और इवन एजुकेशन रे केमती
एग्जांपल देई होबो but if the time permits you have to time cannot permit you
तो इटे बेसी पॉजिटिव अछि ना देन नेगेटिव माने मो व्यू रे
you can give the examples, you can give the case studies, but as per time permits they will not give you so much time answering. Okay. But the negative side of mainstream development project. What are the negative consequences of development projects on tribals?
So we can discuss it by each aspect of their society. For example, first of all, religious. For example, in Niyamgiri Hills, they worship the mountain as Niyam Raja, which is being planned to be excavated by the miners for its bauxite reserves. So somewhere it is affecting their
name of the tribe. Dongria.
Dongria Kond. No, sir, Dongria Kond.
Okay. Which district there?
Raigada, I guess.
Raigada, southernmost
So,
district of Odisha.
yes, sir.
The negative consequences of mainstream development are land alienation. If any project is going on, we think like that. If any dam is being built, or any airport is being built, or any military base is being built in a tribal area, there is land alienation, involuntary displacement, and forced migration of the tribals. It leads to indebtedness, it leads to tribal loss of identity, and it leads to loss of status of women, deterioration of the health, cultural impoverishment. All this finally leads to the tribal protests and agitations. What is national policy on rehabilitation and resettlement? 2007 say.
2013.
Okay. Initially it was there in 2007. Later is edited edited in 2013.
Sir, 80% 80% population's consent is required in case of private and 70% in case of government. And in rural areas, 4 times the value of market price is being compensated, and 2 times in case of urban area. And if within 5 years the land is remain unutilized, then they have to return the area.
What is the purpose of this NPRR 2013? Purpose क्या था? It strike a balance between need for development and activities, at the same time protecting the interest of landowners. What is Land Acquisition Act 2013?
What I just said is actually Land Acquisition Act 2013. ଯୋଉଟା ମୁଁ କହିଲି ସେଇଟା ହଉଛି 2013 act ଅଛି ମାନେ 4 times.
I asked you about the national policy on rehabilitation and resettlement. You told about Land Acquisition Act.
Yes sir. Sorry sir.
National policy on rehabilitation and resettlement is for striking a balance between the development activities and the same time protecting the interest of the landowners. Land Acquisition Act 2013. It regulates the land acquisition and lays down procedures and rules for granting compensation, rehabilitation, and resettlement to the affected persons, that is tribals in India. What are the constitutional safeguards for Indian tribals? Each one can tell one or two. Pranati can tell.
Sir, Article 330, 332.
Let her tell. Pranati, tell.
So there is the National Commission for ST people, and
it is Article 338A. You should say in the exam.
It is Article 238.
No, it is 338.
338.
Okay. Forgot that.
Article 46. Is educational economic interest of ST and protecting them from exploitation. Then Article 330. 330, 332.
Lok Sabha.
Lok Sabha
and Rajya Sabha.
Yes sir. And Article 335 also.
What is it?
335.
Municipality and Panchayati Raj elections. Isn't it?
No sir, 335 actually some related to president. Regarding their employment of ST and SC, something like that.
The president can demarcate any area, any tribe to be a scheduled tribe, right?
Yes sir.
The president's rights. Okay.
Then in municipality and panchayat reservation, 244 article. Non-touchable. 20.
Article 244 applicability of 5th and 6th scheduled provisions.
243 then. The panchayat and
Panchayat and ULB elections.
Yes sir.
Okay. Article I am saying all. Amar, Divedi, can you say some rights? Can you say some constitutional safeguards for Indian tribes? Hello? Okay. Article 15, what does it say?
the state can make special provisions from ST. They have a sub clause 15.4.
Article 15.4. Article 15.4 says that state can make special provisions for advancement of tribes. Article 16.4.
15
reservation.
Okay.
So
So the
16 is
development of tribals, developments of tribal and and the minerals to be used for themselves and to work for more viable livelihood.
I'm
And
asking about the
here, if we
articles.
say, if
Constitutional safeguards.
article Constitution Article 338A, this is a National Commission for Scheduled Tribe number 1.
Yes. And okay,
in the DPSP, in the
Article 46 has been told. Okay.
Article 164. Article
हाँ.
164.
What does it say?
हमारा जोटा welfare minister in charge of tribal welfare in Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand.
Welfare in charge of
से एमती कहबो कि there are 4 types of safeguards for the ST. Like the first one is the educational and cultural, second is social safeguard, third is economic safeguard, and fourth is political safeguard. तापर जे कि आर्टिकल ना कहले भल लागो मु सेटा भाबुची.
हाँ से कायम करियो. Minister of Tribal Welfare in which states?
Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh.
Odisha.
Earlier, Bihar was also included, but later on it was removed in 2006.
So he is Odisha Tribal Minister.
Tribal Minister.
I
forgot his name.
You can search on the internet. C is Hembram. You can just search and post it in this channel. Pranti madam, can you post his internet search kari post kari paribo? Who is a tribal minister of Odisha now?
हाँ से जगन्नाथ सरकार. His name is Jagannath
I'm sorry.
Sarkar.
Yes, it's Jagannath Sarkar. Yes, right. Very good. Jagannath Sarkar is a minister. Now, we're going to discuss the constitutional provisions one by one. Article 15.4, please listen carefully. It is the state makes special provisions for advancement of tribals. Article 16.4, clause 4, it is reservation for public post and employment of tribals. Article 19, clause 5, it is restriction of freedom of movement in tribal areas. That means you cannot move. That means one cannot move freely in the tribal areas. Article 23, prohibition of human trafficking, beggar and bonded labor. Article 38, DPSP, welfare of citizens by establishing a just social order. Article 46, promotion of educational and economic interests of the STs, scheduled tribes. Article 164, there is a Minister of Tribal Affairs. There is a Minister of Tribal Welfare in 4 states: Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and UP. Article
MP. Sir, MP. MP, not UP.
Okay, I got
Madhya Pradesh.
MP, Madhya Pradesh. Article 243, there is reservation in elections to Panchayati PRI bodies and ULBs. Article 244, there is 5th and 6th schedule provisions. Article 330, reservation in Lok Sabha. 332, reservation in Rajya Sabha. Article 335, the president's right to name any particular group as a tribal.
Particular group or particular
particular people or particular community.
Okay.
That is article number 335. Now come to article number 338A, most important. National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, NCST. Now there is one more article, article 339, Committee to report on administration of STs. What are the, okay, now this is the constitutional safeguard for tribals. Now tell me, what is meant by fifth schedule, sorry.
So there are certain
Fifth
areas.
Let her speak, then Pranati can say.
So who is schedule?
Fifth schedule, 5. Schedule 5.
Okay. For Odisha or the Indian Constitution?
I am asking according to the Constitution.
Okay. Sir, it deals with the administration and control of scheduled areas.
And scheduled tribes in any state except Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Presently,
yes,
fifth
sir.
schedule is in 10 states, including Odisha.
Yes.
In Odisha, you have schedule 5 area, you know.
Schedule 5.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
7 districts are fully coming under schedule areas, and 8 districts partially included in schedule areas. Total around 15 districts have been covered in the schedule areas. What do you mean by 6th schedule area?
Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram comes on certain areas of these.
Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram.
Yes, sir. Certain areas of these states have been come under this article. And according to this, there are certain places and certain people who have not adopted to the modern education, modern way of life.
The states which are not, states which are not coming under 5th schedule, that 4 states are coming under 6th schedule. That is Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, and
AMTM, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. So what is the administrative unity in the 6th schedule?
So because those people are not adopted to the modern way of lifestyle, mainstream way of life.
What is the administrative unit in the 6th schedule?
Administrative unit or administrative head?
I am asking about the administrative units. Have you heard of Autonomous Council?
Yes, sir. Autonomous District Council.
That's it. Now tell me, what are the welfare provisions for tribals? This we have already discussed the constitutional safeguards. Now there are other legislative measures like acts and other government measures, economic measures, social measures for the tribals.
आदिवासी में सेमती
नहीं आदिवासी में नहीं. You know about the economic measures, educational measures, welfare of tribals, welfare schemes of tribals. Divided into 4 parts, na? Education, poverty, employment, social sector, housing of tribals, all this.
Okay. Sure. In education sector, government has set up various tribal hostels and schools for the boys and girls of the tribal people. And in health sector,
Ankit, can you say?
Sir, Onvesa gote scheme thila. Tribal girls
Akanksha, these are the Anvesa scheme for education of for English education, better quality of education. Akanksha for tribal hostels.
Scheme pacharle na, apun measures pacharle.
I will tell both, no? Welfare measures include scheme also, and also the hostel facilities are there. Post and pre-matric scholarships are there. Okay, many other things are there. This is education. What about the economic development? Trifed, you know, Trifed.
Trifid, lambs, Madda.
Trifid, lambs, Mada, and what is the NST FDDC? You know, NST, NSC, ST, FDC, National Scheduled Caste Scheduled Tribe Finance Development Corporation. ITDS are also there. Integrated Tribal Development.
Question.
Please.
एते सारा हेकी भी काहे से माने एते भी बैकवर्ड अछंती
Due to because it takes time, it doesn't happen in a day. But we have seen already.
ये तो 1952 स्टार्ट हेलानी बाकी एते सारा ओके
एते सब हमार कारण होच कि ब्यूरोक्रेटिक डिले आ ट्राइबल्स मान को स्कीम्स पहुंच पानी because segmented है होची ट्राइबल some tribal people are availing the reservation facility and they are becoming bureaucrats, doctors, engineers. जाको एक्चुअली फैसिलिटी मिला तक he is still there in the forests.
तो जो माने ऑलरेडी माने क्रिमिलियर अछन से माने बारंबार यूज कर चलछन.
They are using for this facility using generation after generation. जणा आयस रो पुओ जे भी पहुंचन आयस in the tribal कोटा. But actually जाको दरकार they are not getting it. That's why government has set up the
needy people are not getting that type of
creamy layer and non-creamy layer. Creamy layer are the IS bureaucrats, doctors, engineers, wing commander, and above in armed forces. Some facility pouchan they are getting reservation, but those actual tribals who are settling in our tribal interior tribal areas, they are not able to avail the facilities of the government, and still they are deprived. But government of Odisha has taken a
as a DM, what we will do?
As a DM, I will adopt the 560 formula. Most Sarkar initiative for awareness of the schemes related to the tribals. First, awareness is required, and then I will facilitate the tribal infrastructure, employment, education, all this. 60 is the answer. Okay. ट्राइबल स्कीम्स हला ट्राइबल मार्केट सगला ट्राइबल को हमें लोन देबनी ट्राइबल लोन हैगला and we are coming to what are the scheduled constitutional safeguards for scheduled caste.
That's most of them same ही माने बस क्लॉज गुडा अलगा. 38
गोटे ही बदले बस गोटे दिटा बदले सेटा अछि आर्टिकल 17 इंक्लूड हबो एबोलिशन
ऑफ
अनटचेबिलिटी आ गोटे एड हबो 338 बदले 338 ए बदले 338 रहबो ओनली. That is National Commission for Scheduled Caste, NCSC.
Yes.
What are the constitutional provisions?
बहुत सारे अलगा एक्टिविटीज लाइक जो प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ सिविल राइट्स एक्ट एंड
but
rehabilitation act.
It is not an act, no, it is not a article.
Constitutional. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What are the constitutional safeguards for OBC? Constitutional safeguards for OBC, other backward caste. एथरे भी प्राइस और सेम रहेगा.
27% reservation for the OBC category students in job and education sector.
No, okay. Article 27.
No, sir. 27% reservation.
It is an article or what?
So it is put act to not like it to which under VP Singh.
Mandal Commission,
right?
We are discussing about the articles. Article number 338B, National Commission for Backward Classes. Remember this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
338B. बाकी सब सेम रहेगा. And Article 338B रे अछि National Commission for Backward Classes. That we can include. What are the social changes brought by tribals of India during the post-independence period?
Sir, industrialization. Example, Bokaro plant, Ralkela plant, etc. Then also they become a part of the globalization chain. So with that comes all those things like materialism, especially. Then also many development programs and reservation, etc. NGOs also have worked a lot.
Panchayati Raj institutions, municipality,
Yes, sir.
that is all this
Yes, sir.
are modern development modern democratic institutions. Voluntary organizations like NGOs, civil societies are also MSP. What do you understand by youth dormitory?
Youth dormitory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Example होची जेमती घोटुल in Muria tribe, I guess.
Ghotul in Muria tribe, yes.
Yes, sir. So basically, basically in certain tribes, they have a culture of building a separate home outside their village, in which basically the young boys and girls go. They learn their culture, storytelling, share their experiences. Also, in some they get sexual education, etc. And that phase of their life ends with the marriage.
Okay, yes. It is an important part of the social institution in tribal culture, which is disintegrated now. Okay. Youth dormitories example is Ghotul and Moria. What is the function of TriFed?
TriFed means Tribal Cooperative Market Federation of India Limited, and basically it was set up for preventing the exploitation of tribals by the traders and all, and it basically gives them a proper remunerative price, just like MSP in agricultural products. So it helps them securing higher earnings and giving them employment and helping them in marketing.
It deals with the MSP, so MSP also market for minor forest products.
Yes, sir,
main काम होची कि to market the minor forest products of the minor forest products, including the tribal handlooms also. TriFed. Have you visited a TriFed in Bhubaneswar? Have you seen it?
No, sir.
Where do you reside?
Sir, currently I am staying in Kolkata.
Kolkata. Pranti madam, have you visited any tribal showroom? Handloom, Adivasi Mala, Boyanika?
Yes, Boyanika.
Boyanika, I have seen that. Secretariat पाखरे ଅଛି ତ.
हाँ, Boyanika ଯାଇଛି, ଦେଖିଛି ବି.
कौन किनिଛ ଶାଢୀ କିଣିଛ ସମ୍ବଲପୁରୀ ଶାଢୀ?
ନା ଡ୍ରେସ୍. ସେ କିନ୍ତୁ ବହୁତ କଷ୍ଟ ଅଛି.
ଆଉ ତମେ ତ ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ରେ ଅଛ, କଷ୍ଟ କଣ ମ୍ୟାଟର? ଡଜଣ୍ଟ ମ୍ୟାଟର. Spend like something like 20,000 30,000 କିଣିକି ବଢିଆ ଶାଢୀ କିଣିବ ବୟାନିକାର ଆମର.
ସେ ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡମେଡ୍ ବୋଲି ଅଧିକ ପ୍ରାଇସ୍ ରହୁଛି।
ମାନେ ଟାଇମ୍ ରେ ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡଲୁମ୍ସ ବହୁତ ସୁନ୍ଦର ଶାଢୀ ଗୁଡା ସବୁ ବୟାନିକରେ।
ହଁ, କ୍ୱାଲିଟି ଭଲ ଅଛି।
क्वालिटी ଭଲ ଅଛି because
बट सर मतलब होची गवर्नमेंट सेठी बहुत अधिक टैक्स भी लगोची, माने गवर्नमेंट रो शेयरिंग टा बहुत अधिक रहउची।
गवर्नमेंट शेयरिंग अधिक रहउची काहे ना लोकंकर चाहिदा अछि ना, दैट्स व्हाई गवर्नमेंट एते द्वारा गोटे काम करछि, से जो हैंडलूम मानकर जीवन भी बचाउछि, बिकॉज अदरवाइज प्राइवेट मार्केट रे तमके रेट मिलिबन।
यस सर, यस सर।
नाउ आदिवासी मेरेड भी से माने तांको प्रोडक्ट को सो बिकुचंती ना बहुत हाई प्राइस रे।
या आदिवासी रे काहे के हाई प्राइस बिकुचंती, काहे दुकान रो भोडा तांको अधिक पडुछि, तांको मजबूरी रे हाई प्राइस रे बिकिया पडुछि
दुकान रो भोडा।
हां, आदिवासी माने तम जो रूम ता बुक दुकान ता बुक करिवो, यू हैव टू पे फॉर इट।
ओ अच्छा, जेडे फ्री रे नो सर?
काहे की फ्री रे दबो, ऑक्शनिंग होछि। तमर आदिवासी माने कोडी हुए तोसाली फेयर रे हुआ ना,
प्रदर्शन पड़िया
से सर जो राम मंदिर पछवट जगहटा
यूनिट 3।
हां, प्रदर्शन यूनिट 3 प्रदर्शन पड़िया।
हां, सेठी केमि फ्री रे देबे, सेठी ऑक्शन हुए।
मु जाननथि।
व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय एनएसटी एफडीसी, नेशनल शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स फाइनेंस एंड डेवलपमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन?
आज सब हे जो क्लास
we have scheduled for 2 hours na, 5:30 to 7:30, सेदरे मो I will complete the part 2 सरला, मतलब सरला सब anthropology finished. Last time we had completed anthropology part 1.
सर एटा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन
आउ किछ पड़ी नहीं।
हां NSTFDC कोन तो
Sir, it comes under Ministry of Tribal Affairs to provide financial assistance to STs. And it basically identifies their economic activities, generate self-employment, rise their income level, upgrade their skills, etc. Generate awareness भी करे Ministry of.
It doesn't provide loan directly, na, but it's a finance development corporation. Acha, what is meant by lamps? Lamps are meaning कौन काम कौन? LAMPS.
It is the multi-purpose cooperative society,
Yes.
which is started by Agriculture Department.
Large size multi-purpose societies. What is the purpose of lamps?
Purpose of lamps.
The credit arrangement करे.
Okay.
one and बाकी से marketing business भी करे वो.
Okay. What is modified area development approach, MADA?
So,
modified area development approach. It was the initial approach by Government of India to for the welfare of tribals. Can tribal how can you take care of the tribal welfare? Therefore, they arranged it on the modified area approach, area development planning. Modified area development approach. What is integrated rural development program, IRDP? It is a rural development program to bring the standard of living among the rural people. What is Manrega?
So, एक minute. So, जो modified area development कहले नी? तो सीधा आउथरे कहबी?
It is the first of the area development approach by Government of India, so that they can take improve the lives of the tribals in a particular region. RFT की better definition देखिए वो बोहिरे.
No, see the internet these are identified pockets in contiguous areas with a concentration of tribals 50% or more than 10,000 people.
50% of tribals are there, na? MADA approach.
50% or 10,000.
Tell me about the Manrega scheme. How it has impacted the tribals?
Manrega scheme is a central government scheme which is given
which is
central government sponsored.
Central government
sponsored
giving 100 days of wage employment.
Yes, sir.
It is
Non-skilled work.
Irrespective of gender.
Irrespective of gender, particularly only in rural areas. That will also say.
Yes, sir.
And it has made the livelihood, basically strengthen the livelihood of the tribal population. What is tribal plan?
It was set up by S.C. Dubey in 1972. And its main aim was to channelize more fund for tribal development, then narrowing the gap between development level of tribal and non-tribals, improving their life, basically, quality of their life, eliminating exploitation, etc.
Yes. What is the purpose of National Commission for Scheduled Tribes?
It will safeguard their rights, their
constitutional rights.
Safeguard the constitutional rights and adopt the privileges.
Rehabilitation
of scheduled tribes. NCSC. It's headquartered in
relief and rehabilitation.
Yes, sir. And in case of any complaint regarding their
rehabilitation involvement in measures
like
to be taken.
It acts like
in
that National Human Rights.
It acts a constitutional It acts as a constitutional safeguard for the scheduled tribes
in
India.
Like does it have suo moto power like NHRC?
Constitutional safeguard?
Yes, sir. Suo moto power bhi
achi. He can prescribe punishment. He can conduct
yes,
inquiry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
NCST.
Yes.
Jab
Yes,
National
इस
Commission
type
for
से it's a one type of quasi judicial
Federal.
body ना.
Quasi judicial. Yes,
It's
yes,
a
quasi judicial.
half judicial body.
yes, quasi judicial body. It can prescribe
Yeah.
the punishment. It can visit to a place, tribals, and know about the condition. What is the role of Ministry of Tribal Affairs, MOTA,
Yes.
and who is the cabinet minister for tribal welfare?
He's from cabinet or state?
I am asking about the cabinet, na? MOTA, Ministry of Tribal Affairs. He is
Arjun
Arjun Munda.
Munda. Arjun
Ah.
Munda.
And Ministry of Tribal Affairs state is Bisweswar Tudu. He is from Odisha.
Yes, sir. Both are from Arjun Munda.
Arjun
Both
Munda
are
is
from
not from
Odisha.
Odisha. I think he is from Jharkhand.
Okay.
Arjun Munda is from Jharkhand. So what is the role of MOTA? Role of MOTA. What is the role of MOTA? MOTA, Ministry of Tribal Affairs.
It will introduce all the welfare schemes for the tribal people.
Yes, good. It set up the policies
Development
for
of tribal.
welfare. Set up the policies, welfare schemes. It is the forerunner of tribal development in India. Sabu schemes, sabu policies, schedule design hoche. And it has got the anthropologists who participate in research and development, like applied research for the tribals. What is the Integrated Tribal Development Agencies, ITDAs?
It will give the training, the skill training to the tribal people.
Okay, out to ball answer. Ankit Babu, kuhନ୍ତୁ?
No, sir. Podhi nahi mo.
ITD is
Odisha रे केतरा ITD अछि? How many ITDs in Odisha? अच्छा देवे interview.
what is internet?
There are 21 ITDs in Odisha. It is an agency concerned with tribal development in tribal subplan area. Okay, it operates within one or a few blocks. There are 21 ITDs in Odisha. ITD गुड़ाक ऑपरेट करछन्ते ट्राइबल सबप्लान भितरे. What is ethnicity?
सेते काम भी तो कहलेनी.
It operates within a tribal subplan area and it works with the tribal development. Concerned with the tribal development माने tribal माने को केमदी गोटे agency
तो हां कौन
aim of the ITD is Integrated Tribal Development Agency. It is concerned with the development of the tribals inside the tribal subplan area, TSP area. You can understand that they can mean the employment of the tribals, voluntary education, tribal education, tribal villages development, roads, infrastructure, dams.
ସେମାନେ training भी दियंती ना.
They give voluntary training. Voluntary training दियंती self employment पे कुकुड़ा पालन, गो पालन, माछ चाष, honey bee, ଆଉ different ପ୍ରକାର ପନିପରିବା ଚାଷ.
ମାନଙ୍କୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦିଅନ୍ତି ସବୁ ଯୋଉ ସେମାନେ ଯୋଉ ସବୁ ତାଙ୍କ ଯୋଉ ଡ୍ରେସ ତିଆରି କରନ୍ତି ନା ତାଙ୍କୁ ସବୁ ଟ୍ରେନିଂ ଦିଅନ୍ତି.
ହଁ, various agencies ସେମାନେ middleman ରଖନ୍ତି, କେତେଟା ଲୋକ ରଖି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଟ୍ରେନିଂ ଦିଅନ୍ତି. So the tribals can be self employed, financially independent. Remember, there are 21 ITDs in Odisha.
Okay.
What is the factors for tribal unrest? What is ethnicity? We have 30 minutes to go. जल्दी करो. Ethnicity कौन?
So basically, a group of people who share a common ethnic elements and they live in a common area.
Ethnicity is ethnic group that is a culture living in a culturally related people within a designated ethnic boundaries. Last time आसला 2019 रे आसला ना ethnic boundary 20 marks. लिखिछो मैडम?
Say with unique features ना ethnicity टा with unique features.
आपण मेंस क्वेश्चन रे कोन लिखले ethnic boundary लिखली ना नहीं? ना छाड़ देले?
को लिखी माने नहीं.
ना एक क्वेश्चन लिखले ना नहीं? चेक तो
हां जो को लिखी थी माने नहीं भूली.
इतने जल्दी भूलिए लिखिन. Factors responsible for tribal unrest.
तार और क्वेश्चन कोन थले सेटा भी करथि सर.
हां मन रखियो ना सब. factors responsible for
Ethnicity
tribal.
কিন্তু unique features contain করে সেটা জানছি। That's
हाँ,
why
हाँ.
the term is called ethnicity.
It's a ethnic group that is collection of culturally related people. माने जेमती सरदार जी सिख population माने पंजाब रे गोटे जगह रहिबे and they are having a designated ethnic boundary. ସେମାନେ सब गुरुद्वारा जिबे गोटे टाइप रे पगड़ी पिंदिबे. हिंदू जने गले ସେମାନେ एक्सक्लूड कर देबे तांका ग्रुप within a designated ethnic boundary. What are the factors responsible for tribal unrest in India?
So politically mobilization करा होची first of all, then industrialization urbanization related जहाँ भी problem, then जो contact with Christians सेपरे सेटा से तो भी जहाँ problem होची like माने किसी गाँव गुड़ा divide ही जाऊची into Christian tribal non Christian tribal और तांको भीतर ଗୋଟେ superiority inferiority complex तापरे और level of education जहाँ भी से गुड़ा कुने की English education
प्रथम होची tribal encounter with non tribals बाहर आसुंदी businessmen मारवाड़ी ସେମାନେ spectators money lenders ସେମାନେ ତାଙ୍କ ଜୀବନ ଖରାପ କରି ଦଉଛନ୍ତି. Exposure to Hindu society, they didn't know about the caste system. They are coming into it. Demographic imbalance, industrialization and urbanization. તમે જાણછો ઝારખંડ રે કાંકી ટ્રાઇબલ અનરેસ્ટ થઈଥିଲା? ઝારખંડ રે કાંકી ટ્રાઇબલ અનરેસ્ટ
non tribal dominate करथले बिहार साइड रो जोटा थिला हमर माने मोस्टली बिहारी
माने
हिंदू
सेठी कोन हितला ना झारखंड रे जो मिनरल बेल्ट था सेठी सब मिनरल एक्सपोर्ट करि जाउतला आ ताकू बेनिफिट सब दिल्ली पहुंची जाउतला and other regions रे बेनिफिट्स पहुंचला because but tribals were remaining poor. That's why there was a agitation for making a separate state of Jharkhand.
Yes sir, yes.
In unfair treatment by the government neglected them. Cultural orientation and the level of education जेहेतु तांकर शिक्षा नहीं सेते ସେମାନେ अंडरस्टैंड हेगले. What do you mean by regionalism? Regionalism माने कौन?
One's akin to one's own region and advocating its problems and rights in front of national level is basically regionalism.
Regionalism means excessive attachment to one's region in reference to the country, in preference to the country or state. Country or state to अधिको तमरा region प्रति लगाव अछि. अधिक attachment region प्रति अछि. I want a separate region. I want Khalistan in Punjab. That is known as regionalism. Okay. What is pseudo tribalism?
Sir, nowadays we can see certain mainstream Hindu caste groups are trying to imitate the tribal way of life and in order to get the reservation especially, that is pseudo tribalism. I mean, they're demanding they should be included in ST list.
Yes. What is tribal council?
माने सर तांकर जो पॉलिटिकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एस्पेक्ट है ना.
Tribal council was given by Jawaharlal Nehru,
our tribal council
prime minister, and
yes, sir.
It is an integrationist approach for tribal development.
Yes sir.
You know, Jawaharlal Nehru also given a foreign policy of Panchashil.
Yes sir.
Which is the background of Indian foreign policy. That similarly, tribal council is the backbone of tribal policies.
Yes sir.
What are the various policies and approaches for tribal development?
सर जो तीनटा आइसोलेशनिस्ट तापरे आ गोटे हला कंप्लीटली इंटीग्रेटिंग आउट हला मिडिल वे. Isolationist means completely तांको isolate करी रखा लाइक माने जेमिति ट्राइबल पार्क टाइप रो बनै के and integrating माने completely हिंदू सोसाइटी माने मेनस्ट्रीम सोसाइटी इंक्लूड कर दबा. बट मिडिल वे होची तांको ए काउंसिल रो जोडा मेन मोटिव हो से मिडिल वेटा कि माने तांको तांकर लाइन ऑफ जीनियस रे धीरे धीरे डेवलप को दबा. तांकर ही लोकन को ट्रेन करी कि तांको एम्प्लॉय करिया तांकर ये रे एंड तांको पई लैंड राइट्स वगैरह फॉरेस्ट राइट्स वगैरह सक्सेस माने करिया एटसेट्रा.
Okay. Isolationist policy, very relevant assimilation policy by
Thakkar
voluntary
Bappa.
organizations, by Thakkar Bappa or Bas, you can say Bas,
Yes, sir.
and missionaries. And integration policy by Government of India, that is by Nehru, or you can say Tribal Council. What is PESA Act? Define it.
PESA.
Hmm.
Extension of
It
provision
is
for the
Panchayat.
extent.
No, madam, there is the Panchayat extension to Scheduled Areas Act, PESA Act,
Oh,
1996.
okay, sir.
Describe it.
So ଆଗରୁ actually ପଞ୍ଚାୟତ ଆମର ପଞ୍ଚାୟତ ରାଜ ଏକ୍ସଟେଣ୍ଡ ହେଇନଥିଲା ସିଡ୍ୟୁଲ ଏରିଆକୁ ତାପରେ 1996 ରେ ଏକ୍ସଟେଣ୍ଡ କରାଗଲା ତ ତାଙ୍କୁ ସେଠି କିଛି
Okay.
ସର୍ଟେନ ରାଇଟ୍ସ ଦିଆଯାଇଛି
With certain modifications. Scheduled Areas. What
Yes, sir.
what were the exclusive thing of PESA? कौन स्पेशल थिला PESA रे?
लाइक सर କିଛି ଆମର ମାଇନିଂ ବଗେରା ମାଇନର ମିନେରାଲ ଲେବଲ ତାଙ୍କୁ ପରମିଶନ ନବାକୁ ପଡିବ
କୌଣସି ଲ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ ଏଲିନେସନ କି କୌଣସି ଏକ୍ସକେଭେସନ କରିବା ପୂର୍ବରୁ ତମକୁ PESA ଠୁ ଅନୁମତି ନେବାକୁ ପଡିବ.
Yes, sir.
What is Dehbar Commission?
ତ ସେ 1961 या 2 ରେ ସେଟ ବସାଇଥିଲା ଦେବାର କମିଶନ ଜଣେ ଏଇ ଟ୍ରାଇବାଲ ମାନଙ୍କର ଷ୍ଟେଟ କୁ ଜାଣିବା ପାଇଁ ତାଙ୍କର ଇମ୍ପାକ୍ଟ କଣ ହେଇଛି
Dehbar Commission particularly identified the particularly very vulnerable tribes and named the first time ସେମାନେ PTG ର nomenclature ଦେଇଥିଲେ, identified a separate category within the scheduled tribes who are very much for the lowest levels of development, and this the name is at primitive tribal groups, PTGs. Okay.
Sir.
What is PVTGs?
PVTG identify करा जाए କିଛି ଏମିତି tribal groups ଅଛନ୍ତି those who are more backward than the mainstream tribal groups, like they are identified in terms of their backwardness, then stagnant or reducing population, then pre-agriculture level technology, illiteracy, etc. There are 62
forest dependent livelihoods. I will tell forest dependent livelihoods, pre-agricultural level of existence, stagnant or declining population, and low literacy rate, and subsistence based economy. Okay. In 2006, the term PTGs, primitive tribal groups, was changed to particularly vulnerable tribal groups to remove the derogatory term primitive.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
And how many PTGs are there in India?
So 75.
And out of 75, can you name some PVTs which are not except Odisha PVTs? Tell some example of PVTs.
Sir, Onje, Jarua from the Andaman, Nicobar,
Tell the example. PVTG which place or state?
Sir, ଏଗୁଡ଼ା ହଉଛନ୍ତି ଆଣ୍ଡାମାନ ଆଉ ନିକୋବର ସମ୍ପିଆନ, ଅଞ୍ଜେ, ଜରୁଆ, ସେଣ୍ଟିନେଲିଜ, ତାପରେ ବିହାରରେ ହଉଛି ଗୋଟେ ଥିଲା ଅସୁର ଟ୍ରାଇବ, ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ ଜୁଆଙ୍ଗ, ଲାଞ୍ଜିଆ, ସୌରା, ବିରହୋର, ମାଙ୍କିଡିଆ, ଡଙ୍ଗରିଆ କନ୍ଦ,
ଓଡ଼ିଶାକୁ ପରେ ଆସିବା ଆଇ ଏମ୍ କମିଂ ଟୁ ଓଡ଼ିଶା. ବୋଡୋସ୍ ଇନ୍ ଆସାମ, ଡଙ୍ଗରିଆ କନ୍ଦ ଇନ୍ ଓଡ଼ିଶା, ଡଙ୍ଗରିଆ କନ୍ଦ ଛାଡ଼, ଚୋକ୍ଲିଆଙ୍ଗଟମ୍, ଚୋଲାନିକମ୍ ଇନ୍ କେରଳା, Sompens, Sentinelese,
in Tamil Nadu.
Huh?
Toda tribe in Tamil Nadu.
Toda, Erula, Badaga, Korova, ଏମାନେ ବି ସମସ୍ତେ
जोर से କୁହନ୍ତୁ, ଇଣ୍ଟରଭ୍ୟୁ ରେ କେମିତି ଶୁଣା ଯିବେ, जोर से କୁହନ୍ତୁ. 2 ଘଣ୍ଟା ଡେଲି ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସ କରନ୍ତୁ କଥା ହେବ. Sompens, Sentinelese and Jarava tribes in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. बहुत गुड़ा इंटरव्यू में पचारती व्हाट आर द PVTGs in Andaman and Nicobar. आपण कहबे Sompen, Sentinelese and Jarava tribes. Indirectly पचारती where is the Sentinelese tribe, मते पचार दिले SSB इंटरव्यू रे when I gone for selection.
सर सोम्पियान और
समस्त जानछंती.
हां Sompen
जुआ ट्राइब ते बेसी आस्तनी की सब न्यूज़ रे.
कोन जुआ
अंडमान ना जो अंडमान निकोबार जो अछन ट्राइबल पीपल.
Sentinelese, Sompen and Jarava. हां आस्ट्री.
हां से.
What is the role of NGOs? And give some examples. This came in 2019.
Yes, sir.
NGO
So NGOs are basically non-governmental organizations who, without any association with the government, they work for the social development mostly. But some certain NGOs are dedicated extensively towards tribal development. For
They take
example,
up
there
various
is a
community welfare works like health, education,
yes, sir.
infrastructure
Yes,
development,
sir.
and
Yes, sir.
particularly for the causes of the deprived people. Kago sangar
Yes,
injustice
sir.
heichi, they fight for them. Okay. What is the
This
example of these
example, sir,
NGOs?
ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଦାନ ଏନଜିଓ ଅଛି ସାର୍ ଯୋଉଟା ୱେଷ୍ଟର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ଆଉ ନର୍ଦର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ କାମ କରୁଛି ଏବେ ଆଣ୍ଡ
କଣ?
ପରିବର୍ତ୍ତନ ଏନଜିଓ ପ୍ରଦାନ
ERADN. What is the role?
yes sir
What is the exact role?
ଏକ୍ଜାକ୍ଟ ରୋଲ୍ ଯେମିତି ଏବେ ମୟୂରଭଞ୍ଜରେ କଣ କରୁଛି ନା ସେ କିଛି କରଞ୍ଜିଆ ଯଶୀପୁର ଏଇ ଜାଗା ଗୁଡାକରେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ହେଲ୍ପ କରୁଛି ଏମିତି ଯୋଉ କୁକୁଡ଼ା ଚାଷ କରିବା ମାନେ ପତ୍ରରୁ ଯୋଉ ଖଲି ବନେଇକି ସେଟା ମାର୍କେଟିଂ କରିବା ଏଟସେଟ୍ରା ପରିବର୍ତ୍ତନ ବି ଗୋଟେ ଏନଜିଓ ଅଛି ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ବେଷ୍ଟ ସେ ବି ଉପରେ କାମ କରୁছে
କୋଉଠି କୋଉ ଏରିଆରେ?
ପରିବର୍ତ୍ତନ ତ ସାର୍ ଆମ ଅନୁଗୁଳ ଆଡେ ବି ଅଛି ମାନେ ବହୁତ ଜାଗାରେ ଅଛି କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଇ ଯୋଉଟା ଏଇଟା ସ୍ପେଶିଆଲି ପ୍ରଦାନଟା କନ୍ଧ ମାନଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ବହୁତ କିଛି କରିଛି ମୁଁ ଜାଣିଛି ଆଣ୍ଡ ମୋର ଗୋଟେ ସାଙ୍ଗଟେ ହିଁ ଅଛି ସେଠି ମୟୂରଭଞ୍ଜରେ କାମ କରୁଛି ଯଶୀପୁରରେ
ଆଉ କିନ୍ତୁ ପରିବର୍ତ୍ତନଟା ଟିକେ ଷ୍ଟେଟ୍ ବେସ୍ଡ ସବୁଆଡେ ଏଥର ଅଛି
yes sir
okay tell me some prominent NGOs central level ର India level ର Ramakrishna Mission
yes sir
ଭାରତୀୟ ଆଦମ ଜାତି ସେବକ ସଂଘ ବାସ୍ କହିଲେ ହଁ ଆଉ କଣ
ମହାତ୍ମା ଗାନ୍ଧୀ କଣ ଗୋଟେ ଏମିତି ଥିଲା ଗୋଟେ
ବିଲ୍ ସେବା ମଣ୍ଡଳ and ପ୍ରଥମ NGO
ମେଧା ପାଟକର ଯୋଉ ତାଙ୍କର ବି ଗୋଟେ ଏନଜିଓ ଥିଲା
ମେଧା ପାଟକର
ତାଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ଏନଜିଓ ଅଛି ଠାକୁର ବାବାଙ୍କୁ ନେଇକି ସେଟା ନେମ୍ ଟା ମନେ ନାହିଁ ବାକି ଅଛି ଗୋଟେ
ଠାକୁର ବାବାଙ୍କ ବାସ୍ ପରା ଭାରତୀୟ ଆଦମ ଜାତି ସେବକ ସଂଘ
ନର୍ମଦା ବଞ୍ଚା ଆନ୍ଦୋଳନର ସେ ଗୋଟେ ଏନଜିଓ ଥିଲା ସେ ନାଁଟା ମୋ ମନେ ନାହିଁ ମେଧା ପାଟକରଙ୍କର
ନା ତ ଦରକାର ଆମକୁ ଆମେ 5ଟା ନାଁ କହିଦେଲୁ ମନେ ରଖିଲୁ 2ଟା ନାଁ କହିଲେ ଏକ୍ସାମରେ ଚଳିଯିବ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ସହିତ ଦେଇଦେବ what is NGO କହିଲେ NGO ର ରୋଲ ଫଙ୍କସନ କହିଦେବା NGO is a non-government entity which is a non-profit organization primarily purpose of public interest କହିକି 2ଟା ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ଦେଇଦେବା ଆଉ ତାଙ୍କର ସ୍ପେସିଫିକ କ୍ୟାରେକ୍ଟରିଷ୍ଟିକ୍ସ କହିଦେବା ହେଇଗଲା ଆନ୍ସର what are the 3 hallmarks of anthropology holistic view cultural relativism and participant observation what do you mean by communalism
That it is also one kind of superiority complex that one's own community is more superior than others and others community cannot coexist with the same in the same area kind of
communism is basically a social concept we believe that people who follow the same religion have common secular interests and they favor their own religion ଯେମିତି Hindu Muslim communalism ଅଛି mob lynching hochi cow vegetarianism ଅଛି political economic and social interests are there the divergent interests are completely incompatible antagonistic and hostile ମାନେ ଝଗଡ଼ା କରନ୍ତି yes in Godhra incident Hindu Muslim riots during the partition time and
Babri Masjid
issue and now recently the
Udaipur killing jo
UP violence
yes sir
UP ରେ କିଏ ଗୋଟେ କହିନଥିଲା କି କଣ ନାଇଁ କଣ ନୁପୁର ଶର୍ମା କହିନଥିଲେ କି ଆମର ମୋହାମ୍ମଦ ପ୍ରଫେଟ ମୋହାମ୍ମଦ is wrong ତାପରେ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ ସାରା ନୁପୁର ଶର୍ମା BJP spokesperson remark that Muhammad Prophet Muhammad is wrong some negative remarks she gave thereafter agitation rose in all over India particularly in UP ହେଇଥିଲା ନା ପତ୍ର
ସାର୍ ଆମେ ବେଶୀ ଡିଟେଲରେ ଯଦି ଯିବା ଏଇ ଭିଡିଓରୁ କିଏ ଦେଖିକି ଆମକୁ ବି ଥ୍ରେଟ୍ ପହଞ୍ଚେଇ ଦେଇ ପାରନ୍ତି ମାନେ ମୋତେ ବେଶୀ ଡିଟେଲରେ କହିବା
ଓକେ ହଁ ଠିକ ଅଛି we'll close this topic ଆମର ଭିଡିଓଟା ସତରେ YouTube ରେ ଯାଉଛି it is going to be dangerous how many PPTs are there in Odisha
sir 13
13 ର ପାଇଁ ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ फॉर्मूला कहबी मन रखिया ପାଇଁ हला।
यस सर।
बी स्क्वायर सी डी स्क्वायर
गोटे मिनिट।
हाँ देखो
बी स्क्वायर सी स्क्वायर
बी स्क्वायर नहीं लिखो तो आगे सॉरी बी स्क्वायर डी स्क्वायर एल स्क्वायर
एल स्क्वायर
बी स्क्वायर डी स्क्वायर एल स्क्वायर हेगला। तापर लिखिबे सी एच जे के लिखिले तापर लिखिबे एमपीएस
एमपीएस
कौन है कौन लिखली मु बी स्क्वायर डी स्क्वायर एल स्क्वायर
सी एच जे के एमपीएस।
हाँ बी स्क्वायर कहले दीटा ट्राइब्स बोंडा गोटे हला
बिरहर बोंडा। हाँ
बिहार बोंडा हेगला अल्फाबेटिकली कहबे आगो बोंडा कहबे तापर बिहार कहबे तापर डी रे कहले अल्फाबेटिकली
तो डी रे सब गोटे डोंगरिया खंड आ गोटे तो
आगो दिदाई आसो दिदाई
दिदाई। अच्छा
दिदाई आसीबो तापर डोंगरिया कंद आसीबो।
यस
आउ
सर।
एल रे कहले
एल रे लांजिया सौरा लोधा
आगो लांजिया सौरा आसीबो तापर लोधा आसीबो तापर सी रे कहले सी
चुक्तिया भुंजिया
एच रे हिल खरिया
हाँ यस सर।
हिल खरिया जे पे जुआंग
जुआंग
हाँ के पे के रे कोन कुटिया
खरिया कुटिया
ना
कोन।
ना
अच्छा
कुटिया कोन
खर
एम रे मांकड़िया
यस सर।
टी रे पाउडिया भुइया
यस सर।
एस रे सावरा एमिति करी मन रखिबे।
यस सर।
बी स्क्वायर डी स्क्वायर एल स्क्वायर तापर सी एच जे के एमपीएस।
यस सर।
बोंडा कोड रोचत बोंडा ट्राइब एक
सर
क्वेश्चन बहुत
मालकानगिरी
इंपोर्टेंट बोंडा ट्राइब मालकानगिरी माने लोएस्ट ऑफ द डिस्ट्रिक्ट बोंडा ट्राइब।
यस सर।
ओके बोंडा ट्राइब सहित मु आपको कहबी बोंडा ट्राइब नाउ वी विल डिस्ट्रीब्यूट अकॉर्डिंग टू द ताकर ये मालकानगिरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट रे
यस
रोचंदी बोंडा ट्राइब आउ हमर ए ट्राइब दिदाई बोंडा एंड दिदाई। ओके
यस सर।
हमर डोगरा डोंगरिया कंद कोड रोचंदी
सर सेटा सदर्न ओडिशा मोस्टली माने आंध्र रे भी अछंती और सदर्न ओडिशा कोरापुट कंधमाल तापर रायगढ़।
मैडम को कोंतु
तो नियम केर पहाड़
हाँ डोंगरिया कंद ना रायगढ़ डिस्ट्रिक्ट डोंगरिया कंद इंटरव्यू रे केमती पचारि जानचंती गोटे तो पचारि के नेम द 13 पीबीटीजीस ऑफ ओडिशा आपन को 13 टा पीबीटीजी रा नाम पूरा ताको सामने कहया पड़बो सेते हम फार्मूला टा बनै देली ए फार्मूला मन रखले हे जोनी 13 पीबीटीजीस।
यस सर। यस
हां आ सेकंड थिंग होचे से माने पचिबे साउदर्न ओडिशा रे को पीबीटीजीस अछंती काहे कि ना साउदर्न ओडिशा रे मोस्टली ट्राइबल्स अछंती तेनु साउदर्न ओडिशा रे पीबीटीजी मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट। वर्तमान डोंगरिया कोन मालकानगिरी ना मालकानगिरी
ना डोंगरिया कोन रायगढ़
साउदर्न डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोन रायगढ़ मालकानगिरी रायगढ़ रे डोंगरिया कोन
रायगढ़ गजपति रे भी रहता
ना मयूरभंज नहीं क्योंझर नहीं कंधमाल भी साउथ की
साउथ वेस्टर्न।
हाँ कंधमाल
रे डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्लस आपनकर गजपति रायगढ़ आउ कंधमाल
ए सब साउदर्न डिस्ट्रिक्ट बहुत इंपोर्टेंट। हमर कंधमाल रे अछंती एठी कुटिया कोन देखंतु
कंधमाल कुटिया
लांजिया सौरा भी अछंती रायगढ़ रे।
जुआंग सर भी अछंती ना
जुआंग केउझर अछंती मो साउदर्न
केउझर
डिस्ट्रिक्ट कहूची। हां
गोना शिकारी अछंती गोना शिका हिल पाख।
ओके
आमर साउदर्न ओडिशा केवल 4 जन माने 1 2 3 4 5 6 जन ट्राइब्स अछंती
कोटा कोटा
मते गोटे होची मालकानगिरी लिखंतु बोंडा एंड दिदाई लिखले
यस सर हां
तापर रायगढ़ रे लिखंतु डोंगरे कंध हो लांजिया सोरा
अच्छा यस सर
तापर कंधमाळे लिखंतु कुटिया कंध
यस सर
तापर गजपति रे लिखंतु साउरा बाकी लिखंतु मयूरभंज टा कोन नॉर्थ ना
नहीं
Yes,
नहीं
sir.
मयूरभंज आगे हाँ नॉर्थ
नॉर्थ पूरा
मयूरभंज
मैडम पूरा टॉप रे अछि पूरा मैम और मयूरभंज टा
नॉर्थ
हां
बारिपदा
तमर नॉर्थ रे अछंती मयूरभंज रे अछंती गोटे फास्ट कहूची हिल खारिया लिखो सांताल भी लिखिवा सांताल पीवीटीजी नोती मैम
ओके
आमे बर्तन पीवीटीजी लिखुछु
ओके
मयूरभंज अछंती हिल खारिया मंकिडिया लिखले मयूरभंज रे लिखले हिल खाड़िया माकड़िया
yes sir
एनवरिंद केंजर डिस्ट्रिक्ट
पाउडी भैया केउंछ
केंजर आगे आसबे जुआंग आसबे ना पाउडी
Yes, sir,
भंज
जुआंग,
आसबे अल्फाबेटिक लिखुची ना मन रहया पे जुआंग
yes sir yes
जुआंग एंड तापर आसे पाउडी भुया
पाउडी भैया
पाउडी
सर हम घर पाखरे अछि
अच्छा ते बढ़िया कथा हम मीट करिया मो पीएचडी
सर
करछि
ऑनगोइंग
हां ता हमें
मो
आपको कोडी
ऑनगोइंग
संबलपुर और सुंदरगढ़ सेंट्रल लानिया सेंट्रल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स लिखंतु सेंट्रल लिखिले
Yes.
केंजर डिस्ट्रिक्ट रे जुआंग एंड पाउडी भुया
yes sir
ना सेंट्रल डिस्ट्रिक्ट लिखंतु सेंट्रल रे रहइबो तमरा कोन सुंदरगढ़
सुंदरगढ़ भी सर
रे
नॉर्थ हे जो टिका
नॉर्थ रे जीवन संबलपुर
संबलपुर सेंट्रल जो
ताले संबलपुर लिखंतु संबलपुर रे लिखंतु बिरहर अरे बाबू नुआ पड़ाटा कोड जीवो नुआ पड़ा
सर से पूरा वेस्टर्न हे जाउछ पूरा एक्सट्रीम वेस्टर्न सदर्न माने मालकानगिरी ऊपर जस्ट अछि
ताले से नुआ पड़ा भी साउदर्न रे जाउची
हां सदर्न वेस्टर्न छत्तीसगढ़ तेलंगाना जो हमर टाई जंक्शन रे
तथापि हम ताको नॉर्दर्न साउदर्न लिखते रहे नुआ पड़ा अछि हमर ये नुआ पड़ा की अछि चुटिया भुंजिया
एमती करथाने जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट वाइज अल्फाबेटिकल लिखतले भले हितंदा
मैडम
ना सर थोरे
डिस्ट्रिक्ट वाइज भी पचाछन से माने पचाछन कि साउदर्न ओडिसा रे को ट्राइब्स अछंती आपण केमति कहबे तथे में जोन हिसाब रे डिस्ट्रिक्ट हिसाब रे डिबेट करछ हां कोंतु
सर एमती माने पढी देले मने रहि जो जणा पडि जो जन थोरे 13टा
नहीं 13टा मन रहि जे कि से माने डिस्ट्रिक्ट वाइज पचाते केमति करबा सेगमेंट ब्रेकअप करे पड़छ संबलपुर हेला चुटिया पुंजिया सब 1 2 3 हेगला हां लोधा सुंदरगढ़ कोठी सेंट्रल
सर
नॉर्थ रे
नॉर्थ
हां
नॉर्थ
ना ना
सर सुंदरगढ़ हां सर सुंदरगढ़ केंदुझर मयूरभंज गोटे लाइन रे अछि लागि माने कंटिन्यूअस अछि
सुंदरगढ़ लिखंतु लोधा नॉर्थ लिखंतु सुंदरगढ़ लोधा लिखिले
सुंदरगढ़ यस सर
तापर हमर सरीला
यस सर
आपण सेटा इजीली मन रखि परिबे देखंतु म आउथरे पढ दोची साउदर्न ओडिसा रे अछंती मालकानगिरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट अछि हमर बोंडा एंड दिदियाई अछंती रायगढ़ डिस्ट्रिक्ट रे अछंती डोंगरिया कंद एंड लांजिया सोरा मैडम देखछन तो हेलो
यस सर
हां मु पढुची प्रूफ रीडिंग करूची देखंतु कंधमाल रे अछंती कोटिया कंद गजपति अछंती साउरा आ नुआपड़ारे अछंती चुटिया भुजिया हला एतिक सब 1 2 3 4 5 5टा साउदर्न डिस्ट्रिक्ट अछि हमर ट्राइबल इफेक्टेड सेतिरे हम ट्राइब्स कहि देली नाउ हमर नॉर्थ डिवीजन अछि मयूरभंज रे अछंती हिलकारिया एंड माकड़िया हला आमर केउझर अछंती जुआंग एंड पाउडी भुइया आमर सुंदरगढ़ रे अछंती लोधा ट्राइब्स आमर सेंट्रल रे केवल संबलपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट रे ही गोटे अछंती बिरहोर Okay, my last question to you.
Sir.
What are the welfare schemes made by government of Odisha for PPTGs? किसी आंसर करो
Government schemes or government facilities?
Government schemes को government measures के all things PPTGs में कौन कर चंदी particularly government schemes पहले better हम
sir it provides
dot 5-7 रा कहि देबो मु कहि
ITD आपण कोंतो नले
Okay, the government schemes provided by government of Odisha for welfare of PVTGs include first one is तमर अछि ओपिलिप ओडिशा ओपिलिप अछि ओटिलिप ओडिशा ट्राइबल लाइवलीहुड एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन प्रोग्राम ओपिलिप अछि तापर ओडिशा पीवीटीजी सॉरी ओडिशा पीवीटीजी एम्प्लॉयमेंट लाइवलीहुड इंप्रूवमेंट प्रोग्राम ओपिलिप प्रोग्राम अछि देन ट्राइबल माने ऑल द स्किल्स स्पेशल कंपोनेंट प्लान अछि ताका पई फॉर द पीवीटीजीस and PBTG welfare ପାଇଁ there is PBTG festival have organized ହେଇଥିଲା and there is all the schemes jaha bhi applicable अछि tribals ପାଇଁ that is same applicable to PBTGs also and there is some special funding done by PBTG tribals and ITDA रे तांको special loan दिया होछि to focus more I will mau ଟିକେ better answer କହିବି I will post it in the channel
yes sir actually both that sir question पडिथिला 2019 या केबे होता तो खोजितले एथर कोठी नेट रे पाइलेनी प्रॉपर आंसर गोटा बा
सेटा नेट रे मिलिबनी आपन को because not given in it properly
नहीं सेटा होबो आंसर कोन की तार होबो से माने फास्ट तो तांकर यूनिकनेस को माने मुझे ओडियर को दो सर यूनिकनेस को बजे रखिया ପାଇଁ तांको स्पेशल से माने अटेंशन दवा पड़छ गवर्नमेंट को ता से तो गवर्नमेंट फास्ट ले तब सेकंड ले कि तांकर जो सेफगार्ड ପାଇଁ
कल्चरल तांकर कल्चरल को प्रेजर करै ପାଇଁ ट्राइबल फेस्टिवल ऑर्गेनाइज हेची ओडिशा गवर्नमेंट स्टार्टेड रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट रिसर्च ऑन दिस ट्राइबल्स लाइक ओडिशा ट्राइबल म्यूजियम अछि हमर सीआरपी पाखरे दे आर कंडक्टिंग रिसर्च जर्नलिस्ट लेक्चर ताका भीतर जाके केस स्टडी बनउछथि टू प्रिजर्व देयर कल्चर
सर हम माने
सेफगार्ड मींस कि माने बाहर लोक तांको केमती
हरण न करबे
yes sir sir बोंडो जो हिल रे होचंदी सेठी अलाउ नै आउटसाइड को माने हिल ऊपर को जियो बस मार्केट रे ही भेटी पारियो
एक्सप्लॉइटेशन होतले सीटे की बंदी जो पिक्चर नबा बाकी तांको जो कहतली कि
मु कहबी कि तिने हमें तीन जण भलो टिके लेखिया पीबीटीजी ऊपर आउ टिके डाटा समस्ते आनी कि मते पोस्ट करंतु सो दैट हमें गोटे कलेक्टिवली गोटे भलो आंसर बनेबा सफिशिएंट आंसर नाही ना कोठी
सर एक्चुअली हम घर पाखरे माने हम घर अनुगुल केंजर बॉर्डर तो सेठी पहाड़ ऊपर अछंती हमर कोनटा ना पौड़ी भुया तो सेठी कोन हिच ना गारे एमती सोलर पंप दिया हिच समस्त माने पूरा एंटायर मोस्टली सोलराइज कर दे तांकर फार्मिंग लैंड कोडा तापरे माने एनजीओ थ्रो रे कि एमती कमेंट करी कि हैदराबाद वेस्टेज कंपनी आसी इन्वेस्ट करछंती माने मॉडर्न इक्विपमेंट वगैरह सब
हां माने द लाइवलीहुड को भला करछंती सोलराइजेशन करछंती electricity
yes.
is improvement of the livelihood of the tribals and improvement of the infrastructure of tribals living conditions.
And sir, mostly बोलते समस्तों से लैंड एमती जो भी हमारा 2006 एक्ट हिसाब से समस्तों को लैंड मिल जाए माने किसी एच डी आई अलर्ट करा
आम टे कनक्रीट एविडेंस लिखा पड़े माने ए एक्ट ए कौन ए स्कीम एमती किसी आनी देले आमे गोटे भलो कंबाइन करी गोटे भलो आंसर बनेबा एक आंसर आसीबो
तापरे एबे जो क्वेश्चन सपोज कि सेमन पचारिबे एटा भी गोटे आंसर दबार अछि कि सर जहा पूर्वरु थिला से मानकर सिचुएशन एबे काफी डेवलप हेलानी
हां यू कैन ऐड आ गोटे हेतिला ना केतरा पीबीडीएस मानको सेटलमेंट करथिला ना गवर्नमेंट सुनिथिबे ना
सेटलमेंट
हां केतरा पीबीडीएस मानको थैथान करथिला पीबीडीएस क्लस्टर बनैथिला अराउंड 675 विलेजेस
no idea.
Okay, today we have completed the session and how was it? Session is recorded will be available in YouTube channel channel post कर दिया जाएगा.
Yes sir.
How was this session? Beneficial?
Yes sir. Yes.
ये session रा recorded है ना you can listen जितना खाली बसो you can listen to it. सब आंसर से तेरे कोहा दिया जाए माने you can have a quick recap of the answers वही पढ़ा दरकार नहीं. So we have completed Anthro 1 and Anthro 2. Total we have completed everything. Any doubts, any questions, please ask and you can, if you require, you can message me also in Telegram.
केबे रिजल्ट आसीबो
रिजल्ट आज आसीबो
सर आपण भी ई वर्ष देथिले कि एग्जाम
हां हां
सर आपण बीजेपी कॉलेज रे पढितला कि आपण कर
ना ना मोर बीजेपी कॉलेज नहीं मोर कोड पढ़ता है मोर पढ़ला है गवर्नमेंट हाई स्कूल एक नंबर
सर पूर्व वर्ष 40 नंबर्स रे कितले वर्ष ही जो संग्र
हे जा भगवान करछि मोर भी चाकरी सलन आ एथर कोन इंटरव्यू इज बहुत इंपोर्टेंट इंटरव्यू भलो करो हे जो
यस सर सर एक्चुअली एमिति भी माने क्वेश्चन एमिति पड़ला पूरा आउट ऑफ एक्सपेक्टेशन है तो
देखो
GS2 टा सर केमती सॉरी GS2 और आंथ्रो 2 दुटा को आपण मानर केमती छी मन तो आंथ्रो 2 टा
आंथ्रो 2 भलो अछि काई भलो
सर मोर एमिति हला कि GS2 रे से मैथ वाला पार्ट मते किछि भी आसलाने तो मु 10 मार्क ही करछि 50 मार्क मोर पूरा गल्ला सेठी बट आंथ्रो दीटा को बहुत ही भलो अछि माने एक्सपेक्ट के लास्ट ईयर पर मार्किंग को 200 प्लस मिलियो माने 200 टू 20
किछि भी छाड़ी ना
ना ना किछि भी छड़ा नहीं
ए जाना पड़छ जे पढु सब पढु
ना सर आंथ्रोटी मु माने भल से थिली कॉन्फिडेंट किंतु होम साइंस टा के एवरेज पड़े छी माने भाबितली केमति किछि गोटे प्रॉपर आंसर टाइप रे लिखला ना GS2 टा खराब पड़े से दीटा ही मोर माने डिसाइड करियो फेट कि केमति हो छ बोले एक्चुअली सर ए वर्ष कोन
हां समस्त को से अवस्था
यस सर तो सर लास्ट ईयर एमती हितला कि माने किछि मोर जने भाई लास्ट ईयर से OS4 रैंक आनी चंदी माने 2020 रो जो लास्ट अटेम्प्ट रे तो तांकर एमती थिला कि से तांको से भी बस प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन करिए तो किछि पढ़ नथले तो तांकर एमती हला कि GS1 GS2 220 200 एमती मिलला एंथ्रोपोलॉजी दीटा 230 210 तापरे आउ दीटा थिला तांकर इंटरनेशनल PSIR रे तांकर 180 160 आ बाकी सब नॉर्मल थिला तो एइटा रे एते अधिक मार्क हे गला कि माने ऑप्शनल गुडा करे तांकर माने उठी गला से तो लास्ट टाइम होतला ना कि माने काहा को बहुत अधिक मिल जातला गोटे ऑप्शनल आ काहा को बहुत कम मिलतला माने नॉर्मलाइजेशन होतला बट एथर को नॉर्मलाइजेशन करिए बोली कहउछंती माने गोटे नॉर्मल मार्क आसे
एथर इंटरव्यू रो मार्क्स ता बहुत इंपोर्टेंट पड़ियो कारण गोटे मार्क रे पिला रहि जिवे
यस सर
तेरो केयरफुली पढंतु
फ्लुएंसी टा पढ़ा पड़ियो फ्लुएंसी होनी
फ्लुएंसी पढ़े पे बार-बार कथा पड़ियो डेली इंटरेक्शन करा पड़ियो डेली कथा हेले फ्लुएंसी पड़िबो आ आज कथा नथिबा डायरेक्ट एग्जाम पर जाई कथा हेले केन होबो तो पार्टी खोलिबनी एते सीनियर लोक में देखि ना
यस सर
ओके वी विल क्लोज नाउ थैंक यू
यस सर
आर रिकॉर्डेड सेशन को पोस्ट कर देबे बाय
यस सर
गुड डे टू ऑल
यस सर थैंक यू सर